All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Please rise for the flag salute. Barb, would you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Forrester, are there any additions to the agenda?
No additions tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Move on to the consent agenda. I'm open to a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Go ahead.
I move to approve the consent agenda for the 9/23/25 meeting.
Do we have to do them separate?
Are you doing it separate or are you doing the consent agenda as a whole?
We can do it together.
Yeah, so the whole consent agenda, you can either move to accept the consent agenda as presented with a second, or if a council member wishes to remove one of those items for separate discussion, you can do that as well.
Sorry.
Much okay.
I move to approve the consent agenda as provided.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, passes. We're down to visitors' appearances and requests. Would anybody in the audience like to speak to the council? And if so, just come up here and to the podium here.
Ken Smith, 1076 Northwest Peppermint Lane. I just have a question. Is there any more research or activity with the biomass and the urban growth development boundary issues? Or is there somewhere I can go to find out if there is more information out there regarding any further studies on it? Or
I think at this time, there's not, Josh may be able to answer
Yeah.
some of it. We were going to step back and look at what the new, some of the requirements from us, whatever the study was called, Josh, you were going to look at.
The city council directed us to revisit the economic opportunities analysis, which is currently being developed. And once that's finally developed, it will be presented back to council.
Okay.
And obviously it would be an agenda item that you'd be able to look at.
right, okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Ken. Is there anybody on Zoom that would like to speak to us? If so, please just raise your hand. We'll get you on there. Or anybody on the phone? Oh. All right. We have another spot at the end of the meeting for visitors' appearances and request. No council presentations. Council business. Item number 6, intent to award expansion of P25 first responder digital radio system coverage. James Wilson and Katie Kemp.
Good evening, Council. James Wilson, IT Manager, and Katie Kemper, Cook County 911 Manager. Up for consideration tonight is an intent to award that expands the coverage of our digital radio system. So we've been expanding and deploying a digital radio system to replace our aging legacy radio system for a number of years now. We started off upgrading all of our end users subscribers. So that's the actual radios that the officers, deputies, and firefighters carry. That part of the project has been completed, and all of the first line apparatus and vehicles, as well as all of the first line responders, have radios that are now capable of digital capabilities as well as multiband. We started providing digital coverage within our service area. We started that with a rollout of 2 different sites. We knew at that time that that wasn't going to be enough coverage to cover all of the county, obviously, or even all of their common response area. We went live with that system back in March and did a test for several months or several weeks. They used that system. They found a lot of improvements to it. It had coverage in areas that they didn't have coverage before. It was working very well. But the immediate problem was that it wasn't enough coverage. So we quickly identified two areas, specifically east of town, headed out 26 east past Ochoco Reservoir, as well as to the south of Juniper Canyon, as the two major areas that didn't have coverage on the system that really needed coverage. We went back to engineering and design with that, and they came up with a design that expanded that two-site system to a six-site system, and it provided coverage to a service area that we estimate is going to be about 90% of their calls. The proposal tonight is to deploy that system and expand that two-site system to a six-site system, providing coverage over about 90% of the service area for calls for service. Be happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, staff's recommendation is that and with regard to the fiscal impact of this, there are cost savings within the 911 fund associated to personnel costs that will be able to cover this upgrade without additional user fees out to our users or additional revenue coming into the 911 fund. So it's within the current budget. In order to do this, it will require a budget adjustment if approved tonight to move dollars from personnel into capital outlay. So I'm happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, staff would recommend that council approves the intent to award for the expansion of the digital radio coverage system to Codan Communications in the amount of $1,394,240.20 over a 5-year term.
Yeah, I do have a question. You said 90% coverage.
Yep.
What area are you not covering and what population base does that impact?
Yeah, so that other 10% is mostly the east side of the county, which is mostly federal land. So, the areas in the Ochoco National Forest, things that are well outside of populated areas.
Thank you.
And just to be clear, that area will still have coverage on the legacy system so that they will still be able to have communications out there. They just will be using the old VHF system, not the digital system.
Jason?
Yeah.
What's the life expectancy of this system? I know technology changes all the time.
Yeah, so rolled into this includes a product called Codan Care, which is one of the things with these systems is they are technology systems that require constant updates just from a security standpoint, and because they do, they traverse networks. So it's not like an old system that you could install it once and forget about it unless parts break. So these are a system that require frequent updates, and included in that 5-year term is that initial care package. So we would receive all of those updates for that 5-year term. The life expectancy of the hardware is about 10 years is when we would rotate that out. The costs of refreshing just the hardware and then the cost to continue that care package from the 5-year mark to 10-year mark is less than the initial rollout. But about 10 years, first 5 years, all in covered. And then that 5 to 10 years, we would extend our updates. And then at that 10-year mark, we would look at doing some hardware refreshing.
It's inclusive of that.
Yep.
Any other questions? Right. Open to a motion to approve the intent to award for the purchase of the digital radio coverage expansion to Codan Communications in the amount of $1,394,240.20 over a 5-year term.
So moved.
I'll
second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, passed unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right, so item number 7, consideration to approve a grant support letter regarding technical assistance for updating statewide planning goals 5, 6, and 7. Josh Smith.
Union Council, Joshua Smith, Planning Director. The next 2 items are actually both the same thing. They're support letters for grants I applied for through Department of Land Conservation and Development. This is similar to the housing analysis we did about a month ago. We did get that grant, by the way. We actually have already received the number 8 grant, still waiting on number 7. These support letters are required in order to receive the grant. They're allowed to come in later, but a little background, goal 5, 6, and 7 that we're on now, that support letter is to update our maps, maybe do some slight code amendments. There's some state laws that have changed along with cultural resources and wetlands. So we just need to get our things updated for those things.
Rather have the state pay for that than us. We are actually in a situation also where the county is updating their goal 5, 6, and 7. I think it's 30, 40 years old. They've never done it. So kind of coordinating with John and the planning director at the county to do ours at the same time. So we're hoping we both get the grant. On the second one, the code audit, this is something that is a little ahead of the game, but they're providing the grant money now. Even though some of the rules and regulations and model codes have not actually been finished. I wanted to take advantage of the opportunity. To the state's credit, they're rolling out all these laws and rules and changes, but they are providing the money to back it up. So that's what I'm taking advantage of now to hopefully get that finished. It creates a lot of work for us next year, or me, but we'll see if we can get it done. Any questions from council?
Any questions for Doug?
No question. I just want to say thank you for being proactive in taking advantage of the resource from the state on this circumstance.
Yes.
And also
And-
coordinating it with the county.
Yes, that is a happy coincidence that we both happen to be doing it at the same time, so we can coordinate our efforts. I was going to say something, but I just blew my mind. That's okay.
And council would, excuse me, council would have the option of either making a motion to support both letters as presented or doing one at a time.
I can present it as both letters if council's okay with that, and I'll say, go through it and you guys can yes or no. All right. So, open to a motion to approve a grant support letter regarding technical assistance for updating statewide planning goals 5, 6, and 7, and consideration to approve grant support letter to do a land use code audit together.
So, go ahead.
I'll second.
So moved.
Oh, yeah. Did you get that? Seconded it first. Moved and second. All right. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right.
Thank you,
John.
council.
All you guys stayed up late watching that baseball game.
Yes, I did.
Everybody's tired. Okay, so staff reports and requests, city managers report, Mr. Forrester.
Thank you, Mayor. So again, starting out with public safety and dispatch, same situation on recruitment efforts, both in dispatch and public safety. Again, we're working to get outside the box and find new and creative techniques to work on filling all our open dispatch spots. Katie's been way outside the box looking and coordinating with other dispatch operations, primarily the Deschutes County, to make sure we have a full staff on board here, but we'd like to continue to work on getting our own internal people trained up and ready to go. We did lose a public 911 public dispatcher to the police department, which is good for the police department, not so good for Katie, but this person is moving on into the police world. So congratulations. We'll talk more about her later. Officer Catherine Bottoms on the police side hit a 20-year milestone of service with the city. Please join us in celebrating. Those on council that would like to reach out to her, please do so on email. Shane and I will be trying to coerce her into making an appearance at a council meeting upcoming to be recognized for that tremendous milestone and all her years of service to this community. Also on training, Shane and his team will be working on defense tactics training soon. And just to go along with looking back a couple weekends for the No Kings protest, went well here in Prineville. We had one minor incident, but other than that, it was pretty uneventful. So that's good news. We appreciate the work from the team. On the public works side, wastewater treatment plant is in the middle of 3 improvement projects to increase efficiencies and delivery of treated water to the Meadow Lakes golf course during irrigation time. And not unlike our police department with Catherine Bottoms, Robert Katzenberger, Robbie as we call him, are on our street team, will be retiring in December. Robbie started with the city in 1986 and has been with us for 39 years of service to the community. We wish him the best, and we'll work on doing something special to acknowledge Robbie's time with the city and his service to the city of Prineville. Jordan Ridenauer, who we hired a couple years ago, has accepted the opportunity to assume Robbie's position in the streets team, and we'll begin recruitment process to fill Jordan's current position as a utility worker. Casey and his public works team continue to evaluate backup generator power options for their facilities, mainly due to the new rules and regulations that Pacific Power, our utility in Prineville, and our city limits are requiring what they call the Enhanced Safety Program that in essence extends power shutdowns due to various regulations and rules that have been placed upon them by the Public Utility Commission. So what we've seen in Prineville, whether you're part of the city or a farmer or a business owner or a homeowner, I think we can all say we've witnessed a higher level of outages for longer periods of time, especially over this summer, than we've seen in a long, long time. So because of those rules and regulations and the liability aspects of what the power company is dealing with, they're being extra careful. So an example would be if they lose a transformer at 9 o'clock at night, they'll isolate it, but typically they may not be able to regen that and bring the power back up till they can inspect the line during the days in case they miss something that might cause a fire or cause liability. So those are some of the things that they're dealing with. Hopefully there'll be some relief in the next legislative session to mitigate that, but right now that's what we got to deal with. So again, what that means for us is on our critical path items, water, wastewater, public safety. We even have one down, backup generation down here at City Hall for our computer systems for IT. So I think as goes with this type of situation that we're living in, we will be more dependent on backup generation to fill in those gaps. And so it does increase the cost of doing business for everybody, unfortunately. Moving on to the railroad, Matt and his team continue to be busy. We've got a lot going on out there. We're working with Mid-Oregon Employment Agency to get some temporary help for Matt, primarily in the warehouse, where we're doing some of the barley transfers for the craft beer industry. That's turned out to be a very big part of our business here over this last year. It's been good business for us, a lot of rail traffic, but we have that warehouser functionality where we have to transfer that material, that barley in this case, to trucks that will deliver in Bend primarily, but really in other places around the Central Oregon markets and down in Southern Oregon. So again, good news in that we have the rail business that goes with that, which is substantial and been helping the railroad. The railroad's performing well. And we look forward to hopefully having that business continue to grow, which would potentially put us in a position where we can justify hiring another railroad employee to fill in those gaps. On the Meadow Lake side, Mr. Zach has reported that the annual Humane Society of Ochoco's golf tournament was a huge success with all 32 teams or 36 teams filled with 2 teams playing at each hole. So it was quite a fun event for everybody, and it was followed up by awards and auctions. So it was a success for the Humane Society, as it has been in the past. Planning counter inquiries remain steady for Josh and his gang, although actual development has slowed for the season, so not unexpected, and some uncertainty with interest rates. We've seen a little bit of a drop off from where we were the last couple of years, so it'll be interesting to see what the spring brings for us. A reminder in the planning area to the council that we will be having the De Novo public hearing on November 4th at 6 p.m. here at City Hall for the council to review the best care land use application due to the governor's state land use codes for housing. So keep that in mind, put that on your books, and be ready to go on November 4th. Human Resources, Carrie and Karina and Payroll have been busy providing presentation to all our team members regarding the passage of President Trump's bill. This is specific to the taxation or lack thereof on certain overtime opportunities for all employees in Oregon and the United States in general. So it's not as simple as if it's overtime, it doesn't get taxed. It's just not that simple. In fact, it's fairly complex. Some overtime will still be taxed as it has been in the past. Other overtimes will require no taxes. So it's different than what you might imagine or what you've seen in the media. So as a result of that, it creates a little bit more work for our administration team, specifically in payroll. And so we had a great opportunity to meet with all our team members. Karina did a great job with Carrie's guidance of helping our people, our employees, to understand, those that are eligible for overtime, to understand what that means for them, so they're not surprised when we start doing those calculations on their paychecks. Moving on to finance, the annual audit's getting close to the finish line. Lori's been working hard on that. In fact, Lori, as we speak, is at the GOFA conference. And remember, we were about 20 years into the GFOA award for our budget. And I think we're 7 or 8 years into the excellence in budgeting, which is a much more difficult, much more complex award, but we have about a 7-8 year run on that as well. Our expectations, of course, is to receive both the GOFOA award for budgeting and the award for budgeting, excellence in budgeting as well. So we also plan on providing the quarterly financial report at the November 18th special council meeting. And lastly, Caroline met with City of Madras staff to share our economic development experience and successes and what we've learned from the last 10 or 12, 15 years of activity here in our community. And what we're seeing is other communities, particularly here in Central Oregon, our contemporaries have shown interest in some of our secrets over here, I guess, or secret sauce, and how we have positioned this community for growth, how we've create an environment where job creators want to come and invest. And so they, in the case of Madras, most recently, they reached out to us to learn what they can and share ideas with us. Secondarily to that, Central Oregon Cities Organization, COCO, which Steve, you've been participatory in, held a water meeting with all the cities of Central Oregon in Madras last week. I was able to attend along with Mike Kasperger. It's an interesting dynamic when in that meeting, in that Redmond and Bend in particular are really struggling up against the Deschutes mitigation program. That program is scheduled to sunset in 29. And we have the 200 CFS cap, which we've all talked about before, which puts some limitations on a city's ability to make more water, drill more wells, and so forth. And this is really an opportunity that we need to take a pause, in my opinion, and step back and think about the foresight of the council, the foresight of your staff, that we started really 20 years ago anticipating this when the Deschutes Basin became part of that mitigation program from the state. And I just wanted to share with you, in a good way, the difficulty that I had in responding to the mayor of Bend. She was not aware of our water situation and became very interested in how we got in the position we are with the 2014 legislation that President Obama signed, with our aquifer storage and recharge. And I think the message they took away, using Prineville, for example, of getting ahead of the curve instead of behind it, being proactive instead of reactive, is that was a 20-year plan. It wasn't something we did last year or 5 years ago. This is something we saw on the horizon a long, long time ago. And Steve, you'll remember this. We asked the other cities to join us in the habitat conservation plan. We asked them to join us in exploration of wetlands. We asked them to join us in exploration of ASR, and we're told no. And so we kind of have been a little bit of an island out here. So what's the challenge in all that? The challenge is to stay in the position we are. So I just wanted to take an opportunity to reflect a minute with the council. Thank you, council, for your continued support. We have a lot of work to do to stay in the position we are. We have water. We have more water than we need, but that need will come in the future. So we're in a very, very strong position compared to our contemporaries in Central Oregon. So thank you for that. That concludes my report. Any questions?
Not a question, just a statement about the water usage. It's amazing how they can continue to build at the rate they do over there and still not cap out that 200 CFS
Yeah.
cap that they have. I don't know how they do it, so they must be mitigating credits somewhere, but
Well, you know, I think one of the things, Mayor, to your point is there's no, I'm speaking to the choir because Jerry Brummer's in here with me, but there's no silver bullet. So, you know, water loss, mitigation. So I working on old water pipes. And if you recall how many years, I think all of you, I don't know if I can recall how long ago we started, but we report each year on replacing old water line, updating those, finding the leaks, taking care of them. And as a result of that, another metric that we measure ourselves against is our water use per capita. And Prineville is leading all the Central Oregon cities in essence water conversation. I think a better way I would rather characterize that is a more effective use of our water than our contemporaries once again. But the answer is, again, it goes back to we looked over the horizon, we saw what was coming, and we reacted to it and built a plan over a long period of time. So it's real important that we make that part of our DNA and continue down that path.
And I might add that while we made those efforts, we started out making those efforts before we really had the resources financially to step up, and it was a struggle to achieve and begin to accomplish what we were able to. It's a long haul.
Right.
But thank you to the staff
Yep.
for everything they did to make it a reality.
Well, I think in the next couple council meetings, Casey, you'll be able to give us an update on what the new well, the ASR well, means for the city in terms of capacity as a percentage of our entire demand and usage. We continue to partner with the data centers in this case to meet their peak flows for fire. But the goodie for the city in that is twofold. One is they pay for it. Two is we get the benefit of it for our city. To have the resiliency and the backup that most cities this size don't get to enjoy. So, thank you. Any other questions?
thank you. Are there any reports from council? Any committee reports, council reports? No ordinances. We'll move on to resolutions. So resolution number 1633, authorizing a personal service agreement with David Evans and Associates for engineering and environmental permitting for the ASR source well. Mr. Kaiser.
Good evening, council. For the record, Casey Kaiser, City of Prineville Public Works Director, Assistant City Manager. So as the mayor mentioned, I'm up here tonight to ask council to consider approving resolution 1633, which would authorize a contract with David Evans and Associates for engineering and environmental permitting services. So our next project in the development of the ASR system that Steve mentioned in his report is improving the source capacity. And so what we would like to do is we would like to modify an existing well down in the Crooked River well field to improve the hydrologic connection between that well and the shallow groundwater that it accesses. So because this is going to involve some work in the bank of the Crooked River, there's some pretty intensive environmental permitting required as a part of this process. So under this agreement, David Evans and Associates, or DEA as we call them, thanks Marv for pointing that out, that's not the Drug Enforcement Agency. The DEA would, under this agreement, they would ensure that all the federal and state wetlands, waterway, cultural, and environmental permits are obtained that we need in order to do this project. And I can't stress enough how complicated this permitting process is now. I think most of you will remember, had some awareness of the complicated permitting involved in the Combs Flat road extension project related to the wetland, and now we're doing work in the bank of the Crooked River. So this process is extremely intensive. So DEA will, in essence, under this agreement, they'll coordinate compliance with the Clean Water Act, the Endangered Species Act, the Oregon Department of Environmental Quality, Oregon Department of State Lands. These are just some of the state and federal agencies that have to review various aspects of this project. So they'll delineate the site area. They'll have to conduct analysis of the impacts to any potential endangered species that might be in the area, any cultural remains that might be there. So their work includes not only those field studies, but also the environmental documentation and then compiling all of that for our permit applications. So we're recommending the award of this work to David Evans and Associates. Really, there's a number of specific reasons outlined in the resolution and the staff report in your council packet, but basically this revolves around David Evans' specific and unique experience with this type of complicated permitting. They have that, and they have an impeccable track record for being able to successfully secure these permits and navigate this complicated process. So at the end of the day, with the expertise that they have in-house, the resources that they have available, it'll be the most the most efficient and cost-effective option for the city. I would also like to remind council that the work being performed on this project is all being funded through our agreement with Meta as part of their ongoing support of our ASR system project. So I'm happy to answer any questions, but I would recommend that council consider approving resolution 1633, authorizing the contract with David Evans and Associates for the engineering and environmental permitting services, and that contract amount is estimated at $223,473.
We've worked with David Evans in the past, and they've done an excellent job for us. My question is, this, you're talking about one well, but don't we have a series of wells there, and is only one going to be at risk of causing damage?
Yes. So where this well location, we're taking one of our existing, and to your point, Councilman Uffelman, we have 14 wells located very close to the bank of the Crooked River in that area. And so the water they're accessing is considered groundwater under the influence of surface water. And then, as council well knows, we have mitigation credits that we can call for the release from Prineville Reservoir to offset any impacts we might have to surface water in this area. So, Councilman Uffelman, to your point, our plan is to modify one of those 14 wells and improve that hydrologic connection with the groundwater in that area. And that one well, based on this unique design, will give us the source capacity that we're looking for.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments for Casey? With all that permitting to go through, it makes me wonder what would happen today if we had to move the banks of the Crooked River again to keep it from flooding the center of town. So,
Yeah, let's hope we don't have to do that.
there's no questions for Casey. I'm open to a motion to approve resolution 1633.
Make a motion to approve resolution 1633, approving a personal services agreement with David Evans and Associates for engineering services and permitting for the city of Prineville ASR source well, $223,473.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, that passed unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you, council.
We'll move on to resolution 1634, authorizing the sale of interest in real property to Cascade Natural Gas. Josh Smith.
Evening, council. This was the public hearing we did the last council meeting. That was approved. Our city attorney put together the resolution that would then basically allow us to move forward with an easement agreement that we would then put all the criteria into. And that would then create the easement on site, the surveys and everything that go into that. So, are there any questions from the last public meeting or anything on how we're doing this? I'm happy to answer.
I have no questions, but I did get a few phone calls and questions about what we were selling to Cascade Natural Gas. So
Oh,
it goes just an easement.
yeah.
There was a few people thought they were buying property down there to put some kind of plant in or something.
Oh, no,
it's
it'll literally be just a pipe coming out of the ground.
It's an easement to run a pipe. So that was the only thing I had. So quelled those concerns pretty easy. Any questions for Josh? All right, I'm open to a motion to approve resolution number 1634.
I'll move to approve resolution 1634, authorizing the sale of interest in real property to Cascade Natural Gas. Do I have to say the amount too?
No, you just have to approve the resolution.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, passed unanimously.
Thank you.
We are now down to visitors' appearances and requests again. Would anybody like to speak to the council before we leave or adjourn tonight? No one in the audience. What about on Zoom? Is there anybody on Zoom that would like to speak to us? None. On the phone, what is it? Star six? Am I right? If anybody, no one on the phone? All right. Okay, if no one,
I
We'll
move
move
to
on.
adjourn.
you made the motion?
I did.
All right, we had a
Second.
motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed. Passed unanimously. We are adjourned. Thank you all for being here.